so when the infantile paralysis of 1951 epidemic came, I was working at Whitcomb and Tombs because I thought I'd like a break. I was also working at the cinema and doing the work on a boat. As soon as the scare came, I went back to hospital and we worked 3 weeks non-stop doing the Kenny method, and I saw friends come in with the disease. Then they turned the upstairs above the ward, above the physiotherapy department, was made into a rehabilitation unit for the patients who'd got over their infective stage and needed rehabilitation. And that, I have to say, it was the greatest fun to me. I was the only physio on for the 6 days a week. Everybody had dry treatment and slings and things and rehabilitation and went into the pool. I have a lot of energy. We had no gantries to get into the pool, so I was slinging these men into the pool by putting my arms under their armpits and slinging them over. And then, horrors, we had inside the pool a hose, quite good pressure. And so we sort of treated their limbs with this hose as sort of a way of warming them up before they did their exercises, which they could do so well in the water. And when I wasn't using the hose, I put it between my legs, because otherwise it would just be like an active snake and go everywhere. And without a smile on my face, you see, that hose would stay between my legs as I instructed them what to do. And so unaware was I was a pretty naive girl of 23 or 4. I had simply no idea what a laugh it must have been for them, or all this handling I did round their arms, round their necks, to get them in and out of the pool. I mean, it wasn't easy, but I was really embracing them to get them out. And I was such a naive girl in my social life. I must have been really dedicated at the time to do this. But it was very rewarding and lots of fun. I really enjoyed that. But I actually forgot a bit. Before I came to Auckland, I went to Gisborne. I did the 18 months at Christchurch, and then wanting to get to the country, I applied to go to the Cook Hospital in Gisborne. Had a little bit of holiday in between, and was due to start in March. And then I had the opportunity to go up to Northland. I mean, this will really tell you how amazing everything was then. I had 5 days chance to go to Northland. So I wrote to Dr. Hunter, the superintendent, and said I had this chance to do this 5-day trip up to Northland. Would it be possible for me to start a week later? He wrote back and said, indeed you must go there. It's my favourite place. It's so beautiful. Have a wonderful time and you can come back start a week later. I mean, would that ever happen now? So I duly arrived at Gisborne, and this is and went that Sunday to have the meal with my new boss, who was English. She proceeded to tell me that she found that the New Zealand physiotherapists hadn't got the same standard as the English. And I'm going, really? And I want to give you quite a lot of the things, because I'll know that you'll do it properly. I was 23. My heart sank. I thought, how am I going to enjoy myself here? It's going to be ghastly. There's only 2 other staff, this charge person and myself. So of course I said yes, and thought, I don't think I'm going to like this. However, it was Valerie, Nathan and somebody called Paddy who was on the staff. And they had, of course, an aide. And the aide was getting married, and she asked me to the wedding. And I thought, I've only been here for 3 weeks, and she's asked me to the wedding. I can't be too bad. And then after about 4 weeks, Valerie and Paddy, I think she was called, but Valerie, Nathan, and that was right, they said, you know, we were going to move. We'd heard how awful the pommy physios could be. And we were all ready to move, but we're going to stay. So I said, oh, thank goodness, that's good. And for somebody of that age to try and keep, she was lonely, that woman, really. The one in charge was really lonely. And that was a wonderful time too. We had some young doctors. There was Brian Christmas there, and Crick, I think his name was. Brian Christmas came a health doctor, I think, in the health department. And we played tennis, and we went to the hot pools. And I tell you who was the orthopedic surgeon. It was William Park. And he was very pro-physio, and he used to do manipulations to patients about 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening, and he'd want us to come back and put them through certain movements and exercises, and we'd leave about 8:30 at night. That didn't worry me at all. It only worried the person I lived with, because she had to have different meals or something. But it was a stimulating place. Park did some wonderful jobs there, and he had an orthopedic nurse who trained at the orthopedic hospital in London, I think, and he worked very hard for non-polished floors. But that was stubborn. The Cook Hospital Board was determined to have polished floors. And he had an old lady of 70, and he managed to get her femur to unite, and yes, you've guessed it, she slipped and fell and broke it again. I was there when it happened. He was angry to the point of tears streaming down his face. He was furious. I remember that so well. Then we had a staff who had nothing wrong with them, but he slipped because somebody put some water on them. Then they reviewed it. So I put that into my little brain and thought, oh. No, Park was great. And he was just like I'd known in England. It was take the fixation, take the plaster or whatever it is off when the fracture has united. So I was happy there. No, he was great. He wanted good standard, but I enjoyed the work with him, and I enjoyed it in Gisborne. And that's when I came up to Auckland, worked for Whitcomb's, and then went back because of the polio epidemic.